Do you trust me? Trust me to give you information, beneficial facts that I personally think will help you, your life, or maybe even the world. Probably do, whether it's because you know me, because the big red sign behind me, because that sign means that I've come here with research, quadruple checked facts that I personally and wholeheartedly believe to be true. So you have no reason not to trust me, but yet I don't want you to. I want you to question everything I'm about to tell you, because it is that trust that has led a lot of you pet owners out there to have been exploited at some time in your life. See, that's just a fact of society. The fact is that society is run on money, and these businesses who want your money are finding out how to better market every single day. It'll make that kid over there beg his mom at the checkout for something you don't really need. Or it'll increase your dangerous impulse buys. See, it's time everyone in this room becomes a smarter consumer, because if you don't, it will be at the cost of your precious pet's well-being. See, all pet stores have secrets that they don't want you to know about. And I am sick and tired of seeing animals in pain because an innocent pet care owner was sold something that wasn't as safe as they thought, or told something that wasn't as true as they believed. To explain what I'm talking about, let's take a trip together. See whether you own a pet or not. You've most likely been in a pet store once in your life. So let's walk through those automatic doors, get hit by the earthy smell of fish tanks and dog food, and turn to the left. Here we see the small animal section, where you might see a mess of colorful tubes and fun cages. I see 3 times too small cages. That leads to aggression and anxiety in the shapes of princess castles, doll houses, race cars, and rocket ships to sell these animals as toys for kids. Because see, toys can be given as a present, even if the kid doesn't really know what he's doing. Toys aren't a responsibility, and toys can be impulse bought without much guilt. And see, more impulse buys means more money. Next, we see the wheels. We see barred and mesh ones, the cheapest ones, but also the ones that cause broken legs and infected feet. Next to it, we see the bedding. The cheapest ones, again, the pine and the cedar, the biggest bang for your buck, but also the ones that cause respiratory infections in almost every animal they're marketed for. And at the end, we see big boxes with fluffy, adorable, happy bunnies in them outside in hutches. But see, what that marketing disregards is the fact that rabbits are extremely sensitive to temperature, both outside, or both hot and cold. And it also disregards the fact that rabbits can literally die of fear. At the mere sense of a predator, did I mention they can sense a predator from 2 miles away? In the next aisle, we see desert reptiles such as leopard geckos and bearded dragons housed in tropical environments in correct humidity, in correct temperature that a new reptile owner would know no more than to copy, as well as calcium sand. A popular bedding choice, but also one that causes impaction in the digestive system and can usually cause death. In the next aisle, we see bird cages. Too small and incorrect diets. A commonality we see all over the store, including in the dog and cat aisle. See, a lot of the big brands that you may even use for your dog or cat have ingredients in them that would shock you, such as BHA, a common preservative found in animal feed, as well as rubber and petroleum products, known to cause tumors, and the National Toxicology Program says it's a cancerous additive. Another ingredient, animal byproducts, a cheap and honestly, economically good way to give your animal a boost of protein, but it's not quite well regulated. So your dog may be eating well processed, well refrigerated leftovers from a slaughterhouse, while your dog might be eating hoofs, feathers, and other unmentionable body parts from zoos, as well as diseased, euthanized animals from animal shelters. Let that sink in for a second. A lot of you are probably surprised. I mean, I was surprised when I first found out about these misconceptions. See, I saw that princess hamster castle, and I went up to my parents and I begged them for a hamster. They said no, but like any other little kid, I took that as a try again later. So again and again and again, I tried. They just said I wasn't responsible enough, and as an 8-year-old, fair statement, but little Ella took that as a challenge. See, I picked up my little Kindle Fire, and I started to research everything I possibly could on hamsters. Soon after, I found a YouTube channel, a girl no older than 13, explaining some of the things I'm explaining to you today. From that moment, I was hooked. Every day, I would go home and I wouldn't play with Barbies. I would watch videos. And, as an 8-year-old, I didn't quite understand profit over quality. I just knew it was wrong. And as I grew up, started to volunteer at rescue events, adopted 4 more fur babies, it just disgusted me to see these lies that we are told. And right about now, I think you're probably saying, why trust me? I'm a 15-year-old with a degree in nothing and not even a high school diploma. So don't just take my word for it, especially because I told you not to in the beginning. Listen to the words of the 41 different animal lovers I contacted from all over the country before I came to talk to you. I contacted longtime animal owners, to veterinarians, shelter owners and workers, as well as even pet store employees and small business pet store owners. And the second I asked them about miseducation and animal consumerism, boy, did they have some words to say to me. Even some small business pet store owners couldn't help but jump on board. They told stories of having to literally re-educate people after they came in with the wrong information. They told stories of having to take in surrendered pets after that miseducated person realized how much work and how much money actually went into that animal. And I heard stories, horrible stories, such as one from a longtime reptile owner, as well as previous pet store employee. He told me of his first experience with bearded dragons. See, he went to the store, and he was told to buy 2 bearded dragons because they're social animals, but if any of you own a bearded dragon or know anything about reptiles, you would know that these are extremely solitary creatures, and they can fight to the death. So for months and months they fought until eventually they died. But not from the fighting. They died because of a fungal infection they had both gotten. But where did they get this fungal infection from? I'm assuming most of you have heard of puppy mills or cat mills. Disgusting, inhumane breeding factories that pet stores get their dogs and cats from. They recently got a lot of media attention, which is why most pet stores such as PetSmart and Petco don't sell dogs or cats anymore. But what people don't understand is that every other single animal in the pet store comes from a mill. Reptile mills, small mills, fish mills, each just as disgusting as the last. Animals in cramped quarters, not well fed, dead, cramped together with the living. It's awful. As I contacted more and more people, I understandably heard different opinions. I heard different opinions on whether pet stores do correctly target audiences, or whether small mom and pop pet stores are really that different from the big box ones. But one thing every single person I talked to agreed on was research. See, throughout this talk, I've mentioned a few items to avoid, but if I was to stand here and tell you every single dangerous item in a pet store, every single lie a pet store employee's ever told, or sketchy manufacturing company, I would be here for hours, and let alone I don't even know them all. So that isn't what this talk is about. This talk is about learning that there is a problem and figuring out how to fix it. So how do we tell truth from false, fact from fiction? Everyone's going to have a different method, and that's okay. But for those of you who maybe don't know where to start, here's mine. I personally ask myself 3 questions. I ask myself, who am I getting this information from? Why are they telling me this information? How many people are telling me this information? Let's do an example. I mentioned earlier the example that rabbits should live in outside hutches or in small, cramped cages. We hear this from pet stores, pet store manufacturers, and rabbit meat farmers. Why do we hear this from them? Well, pet stores and pet store manufacturers, their goal is to widen their consumer pool, and see, a lot of people wouldn't be willing to section off a 4-foot by 2-foot carpeted part of their house to a rabbit, but a lot more people would be willing to put it on their kid's desk or outside where they can't smell it. See, rabbit meat farmers, they don't benefit from selling you a cage or a live rabbit, but what they do benefit from is the reassurance of people that their rabbits are living happy, healthy lives. But we do also hear this from a lot of people, which is why it's always important to look at the other side. The veterinarians, the long-term pet owners, and the shelter owners, see, they don't economically profit off of this information. I'd argue that veterinarians probably profit off of your animal's not well-being. Well, they tell you this because this world is filled with animal lovers, people who just morally want to make sure you are okay. So these veterinarians, this other group of people, the opposite side, tell us that we need to back up our knowledge with research, with facts. So they tell us it's time to accept that although most pet stores are filled with people who I'm sure would want nothing more than to make sure you and your pet are happy, when they are given outdated or false information, there is nothing stopping them from passing it on to you. See, animals are amazing, adorable, living, breathing creatures who deserve the correct care. And heck, we domesticated them, whether for work or for companionship. And I think we owe them more than a quick glance at a WikiHow page or a quick flip through one of those cheap pet store manuals. And I think we owe them to buy more than just the starter pack filled with usually the worst and cheapest supplies, as well, are usually missing a few key items. See, I could just take care of my own pets, do my own research, but that's just not who I am. I can't sit here on the sidelines and witness confused, frustrated pet owners and pets in pain. I just can't stand here and witness uneducated pet owners impulse buy innocent animals. See, all of us, whether you have personally been affected by this not correct system or not, all of us as compassionate and assertive people need to stand up and shout. Make it clear that for years now, we have had the world at our fingertips. There are millions of pet care videos on YouTube, thousands of Facebook groups for specific animals, and hundreds of rescues just begging you to read their care sheets. It's 2020, people, and it is no longer acceptable to not do your own research. So don't trust me. Don't blindly trust anyone. Be scared, be shocked, and go home. Look at where your pet lives, what it eats, what it plays with, and Google it. Is it really as safe as you thought? And if it is, I am so happy. I am so proud. And if it's not, that's okay. It's never too late to make a change. See, it was only in the past few months when I realized my dog and cat food wasn't as safe as I thought. So I changed it with the help of my veterinarian, of course. I understand how much it hurts to be wrong, especially when it comes to someone or something you care about. But see, I'm so proud of you for willingly looking into your previous knowledge, backing it up with facts and research. So do your own research and witness the health and happiness it brings both you and your pet. Thank you so much.